Okay, guys, I'm back again. I had to do this thing with my phone because this rant, my computer's just acting up. It's too full, so I had to empty it out. But anyway, like I said, the original had heart to it. It had freaking emotion that I bought. Peter Weller's performance was great. It wasn't chin action. Joe, can I get a what? What is the second problem with this movie? He is freaking a horrible Robocop. He's a horrible Alex Murphy. He has no emotion on his face. He's trying to do a New York accent or whatever, and it fails miserably. He's some Swedish douchebag that was in Suicide Squad, and he sucked in that too. The original it didn't need a remake. You had a second movie, which was an awesome underrated sequel, and then you had a shitty third movie. After that, they should have stopped because really they couldn't do better than the second one. After the second one, it peaked, and then you had the TV series. I didn't mind, but after that, it just got worse and worse and worse, and this remake just fell on its freaking face. I didn't need this. Nobody was asking for a remake to Robocop. The suit looks like a freaking Batman Iron Man knockoff. The CGI is terrible in the freaking Ed 209s, the ED 209s. There's a lot of shaky cam there in the beginning. You can't see what's going on. I know my friend likes it. I'm sorry. The original had him shooting a guy in the nuts, shooting a guy in the eye, shooting a guy in the head, shooting a guy in the chest. Here, he tasers people. He freaking tasers people. Why? Why does he have to taser people? Oh, because it's PG-13, so they can't have him being a badass. No, he has to taser people. They play Wizard of Oz music while he's training with Jackie Earle Haley, who was not needed in this movie. Michael Keaton did not work as the villain in this movie. I hope to God that he plays a good villain in Spider-Man Homecoming, because I did not care for him in this movie. This is studio interference at its best, because the movie probably was going to be R, but the studio punked out and wuss out, and they made it PG-13, and it didn't work. The film bombed in the U.S., and I'm glad, because we didn't need this. Nobody wanted this. I'm sorry. It was a shitty remake, a soulless remake that had nothing on the original. In the original, Alex Murphy gets blown to bits by Clarence Boddicker and his goons. In the remake, a car goes off and it blows up in his face, and it's laughable. It's laughable. It's not good at all. The one that plays his wife in the original had some emotion, and she was normal. In the remake, you have freaking the worst actress from Sucker Punch. I didn't even remember what her name was. She's horrible. I just couldn't stand her freaking face. I couldn't stand her. She ruined Sucker Punch for me, and along with Zack Snyder. But here, she's soulless and has nothing. The kid that they had, that they try to give Alex Murphy, and he's like trying to have heart. This movie has no heart. It needed heart. It needed natural emotion. It didn't need to be robotic. It's more robotic than this freaking movie, and this movie was in 1987, and Paul Verhoeven did a great job directing it. And it worked. It had a memorable villain. Here, Michael Keaton is not a memorable villain. That other villain, or whatever his name is, the villain from this movie, he's completely forgotten. And you don't remember anybody in this movie. You just don't. You remember how shitty the suit looks. Oh, it looks tactical. No, it doesn't. It looks like shit, and it sucks. It's not funny. The movie falls flat. The references to the original are just so shoehorned in there. Like, you can't buy that for $1. Wink. No, that's stupid. Fuck this movie. I hate this movie. I never want to see this movie again. I'm glad it bombed. I know my friends like it. It's fine. I don't. I didn't like the idea of this movie. Him having one hand and the other is like a gloved hand. It looks stupid. No memorable score. Horrible CGI. The movie is way too long. It's almost 2 hours long, and this movie did it in less than in 103 minutes. An hour and 43 minutes, and that's with the end credits. Without it, it's like 95, 98 minutes. It did it quick. It didn't need to stall for 2 hours. I was bored out of my mind. This was the worst movie I saw in 2014. And I'm glad that it didn't do well in the theater. We would have gotten a sequel like last year. It sucks. It's the worst, one of the worst remakes I've ever seen in this decade. What else can I say about this film? What else can I say besides the problems that I had? The action sequences are non-existent. There's like very little action in the movie. It's a boring drama with a boring actor playing RoboCop, and everything just falls on his face. It's RoboCrap, and it's not good. It's boring. What is memorable about this movie that this movie didn't already do in 1987, and what the sequel did in 1990? That film gets shit on, yet that's a better movie than this. It's not soulless and boring. It's decent. It's a great sequel compared to the third movie or this remake. I'm sorry. I disagree with people that say that this movie's better than the sequels. It's not. A step above Robocop 3 doesn't make you a good movie. I'm sorry. This is a shit fest. I never want to see this movie again. It failed to capture my attention. It's a watered down piece of shit PG-13 movie that should have never been made. And I'm glad that people forgot about it because I'd rather see anything else. If they made some cyborg robot cop, but it wasn't Robocop, it probably would have worked. But it didn't. And just like the Total Recall remake, this movie sucked. And I don't want to see it again. It's horrible. It's just horrible Hollywood bullshit that we didn't need. And that's been the case with a lot of movies in this decade. But this is one of the worst, definitely. Like in my top 10 worst films I've seen in the last 7 years, by far. Because it was more necessary than like The Amazing Spider-Man or freaking The Fifth Wave or even Norm of the North. It's horrible, but that was a bad CGI movie that was short. This was felt long, and I was bored, and I hated it. But hey, it is what it is. RoboCop was never meant to be remade in today's time because it doesn't work without the violence and the satire and the heart and the action, good action sequences, not shaking the camera every 5 minutes. It doesn't work now. But anyway, that's my thoughts on the RoboCop remake. I know this took a while because my computer was acting up. I had too much stuff on it. I installed a lot of things, or it just came with that, with the package. But anyway, hopefully the next video I do will be on my computer. But I hope you enjoyed this video anyway. I hate the RoboCop remake. It sucks. It can suck my balls. I don't want to talk about it again. It's just one of the worst remakes ever made. Avoid it if you haven't seen it. Just see the original. This is vastly superior. And also, I recommend Robocop 2. It's a good sequel. It's not this piece of shit that I thought it was. When I was a kid, I thought it was eh. It's a masterpiece compared to this remake. And it holds up. And it's over 20 years old. This was already forgotten like 2 years ago. After it came out in theaters. Because nobody wants to remember it. It sucks. It's an insult to cops. It's an insult to the original. Fuck this movie. And that's all I gotta say about RoboCop 2014. Later, guys. Keep liking, subscribing, and commenting my videos. I'll be here all month long reviewing movies, so take it easy.